Sorry, I uneventfully ripped off the plastic part, but I'm not really all that into savoring the moment. So we got the design in California. I'm assuming this is your standard Apple stickers, which is cool because I have one from an old MacBook that I had, and I've had that for an old iPod I had, and I've had that for, good Lord, I got that iPod 10 years ago. I've been holding on to that sticker because I've always thought about putting it on my car. But anyway, here's the phone. We'll get to that in a second, but why don't I bring you all a little closer? It's here. Yes, I'm sitting on the floor. I'm doing some cleaning, so the desk is currently surrounded by boxes and whatnot. So anyway, it comes with these earbuds, which is pretty standard. The adapter's on the back here, so I'll probably keep these in my car just because I take my car everywhere. And sometimes I do listen to music at work and do emails and whatnot, things like that. Here's the charger, pretty straightforward. Here's the charging cable. This is the actual charger. These look a little smaller than they used to be, and these are a matte finish now versus the previous glossy finish that would get dirty. But like I was saying, here's the phone in all its glory, and unfortunately I have not gotten a case for it, so I'm probably going to be going to Best Buy tonight. Cases are extremely important. I highly recommend getting a case before even taking the phone out, really and activating it and just utilizing it or using it, just because these phones scratch probably pretty easily. But I mean, the phone looks better than I thought. Just to get back to what I was saying about why I ordered this phone, I did want the matte black phone because I think that when you're watching a movie and this outer bezel is black, not only does it look great on the back here, but this outer bezel is black. It gives you like a movie feel, even though it's a smaller screen, large by phone standards, but it just gives you a more crisp feel to me. But this is nice, and one upside of it, trying to be more of a glass half full kind of person, one upside is that this is less likely to get stolen, I think, than some of the other ones. Whoa, again, there's that uneventful unwrapping. But anyway, here's the phone. But yeah, it looks a lot better than I thought, actually, outside of the case. And I mean, really, it's about you. The way the phone looks is really about you, because as soon as you get these phones, like I said, I highly recommend getting a case. Once you put the case over it, it changes the characteristic of the phone, but you always know what it looks like underneath, and I don't know, for some reason that means something. So yeah, it's cool. Got the crisp lines here. I'm not gonna start it up. I'm pressing this button like it's an actual button, and it's not. I remember reading that, but yeah, I mean, it feels just like a normal iPhone, it's just cool and crisp. So two cameras, but I guess the silver does blend in with the white better than I thought. The only thing is that when I do put a case over it, if it's going to be a black case, because why would I get any other color? I mean, I'm not 20, I'm not 15, I'm a grown ass man, so you got to get a black case. Yeah, and but anyway. What was I saying? But yeah, this bezel is still exposed, and that's kind of the kicker, is that I don't know what these two cameras up here are for, but anyway, that's odd. There's two cameras. I know they had two on the back, but anyway, but the thing about this phone is that, yeah, whenever you have the case on it, you can still see this white bezel, and to me that's never looked good. I mean, the first iPhone I had was an iPhone 3G, and I did have one with a white screen around it. I thought that was, no, I had a black screen, but I did get one later on that had a white screen after I broke the first one. It wasn't that great. I didn't like it. I never liked the way it looks. I think this silver backing looks absolutely stunning. It looks great, and I think they could have paired it with the black here. Probably wouldn't have gone as well with the white, but again, when you put the case on, it just gives it a crisper feel. Makes it look more crisp, whenever it has a case. Whenever it has that black outline, a black case, It's like a kind of like a BMW, you know. Whenever I see a black BMW, they always look more classy, or a black Mercedes for that matter, than a white one. Just a preference because black seems more formal. So anyway, this is the phone. Again, one other thing that I wanted to kind of go over was the fact that this phone is better than the 6S Plus. And the reasons why I got this phone over the 6S Plus. So if you have Sprint, that's one thing I meant to point out. If you have Sprint, you really want to look at getting this phone online, because this phone, this is the iPhone 7S, or excuse me, 7 Plus, but I got this phone for $416 plus tax. So when you go online with Sprint, because now a lot of carriers are moving towards that leasing option. But with Sprint, I went online and I thought I was going to run into the same thing. You know, it said you're upgrade eligible, and then the first thing that it showed was a leasing option for like $22 a month. But then when I clicked on it, me and my brothers all are on a family plan together. We're actually grandfathered in with unlimited data. That's why we're sticking with Sprint. We pay like $60 a month or $65, whatever. So it's a hell of a deal. But anyway, when I went online and I clicked on this phone, it showed like 4 different options, and I didn't even know this was still available. It showed one that you could lease the phone, one that you could do a payment plan on the phone, another one that you can, and so I think the leasing of the phone was, you know, I'm kind of foggy on the numbers, but I think leasing the phone was like $18 a month, and I think this is for the basic one, and then paying it out, you know, in monthly payments is like $22 a month. And then you could, the third option, which is the one that I choose, and that's the one that I highly recommend, was that you could get half off of the phone if you sign a 2-year agreement. Now, as I just explained, me and my brothers have a hell of a deal with Sprint, so I don't think we're going anywhere anytime soon. But my thinking was, even if we did, it said the phone was normally $832 for the 128 gig. Now, that number, you know, the first 2 numbers that I gave you were just for the 32 gig, because for some reason I kept clicking. I had to keep clicking back and forth on that, and I never really, you know, observed the numbers or took into consideration the numbers for those first 2 values on the 128 gig, because that was never, or on the 32 gig, because that was never an option for me, data-wise, moving forward. 2 years down the road, 32 gigs is going to be nothing. And with this thing not having expandable memory, that's going to be a problem. And that's another little point, you know, a little side note that I also, you know, want to get into. Whenever you're buying a phone, it's important to get the best phone possible that you can get, that you can afford. You know, being reasonable. You don't want to, you know, have your children starving and not being able to take care of your basic needs. But even if you have to forgo some other electronic or hold off on doing something else, get a good phone just because you have the phone for 2 years in most cases, and especially if you're getting an iPhone. I mean, you will, because unlike other products, like the next year, yeah, they do make, you know, significant leaps and bounds in their products, but the ones that came out the year before are not obsolete. Like, they're pretty good about keeping their products relevant, updating the software, and, you know, just having that longevity that you don't find with other brands. For instance, I had a MacBook Pro, a 15-inch MacBook Pro from 2011, and I've just recently sold it, I think for like $650, whatever. But anyway, that book, I could still get online, do things, edit video. Mind you, it was a 15-incher, it had the quad core, you know, 8 gigs of RAM, but again, it was a quality product from 2011, and it was still good to go. Now, if I was a video editor for a company, or I had my own business where I was doing that a lot, now would be the time for me to upgrade. But even still with that, I could still use that because I didn't get a basic 13-inch one. You know, you see a lot of guys, they have the 13-inch ones, in which case I don't think those last quite as long because the specs aren't there. I don't know what they were for that year, but the specs for that 2011 that I had some options on it, like the quad core processor, you know, the 8 gigs of RAM. I think it came standard with 4. But anyway, longevity with Apple, and get the best phone that you possibly can, because again, you have it for 2 years. My parents make that mistake every go around. They just get the cheapest or the phone that they toss up, the featured phone that they have on their website that, Sprint or, is trying to dump off on people. And the thing is, if you're getting last year's model of a non-flagship phone or a phone that's, an obscure one that wasn't really talked about or touted too much, you're going to fall behind pretty quickly, and you're going to find that, within 8 to 12 months, you're going to be pretty frustrated when developments and things start happening and you get behind. So it's important to make that investment, especially because phones are becoming more and more incorporated in everything we do. You're at a family reunion, this is your camera. This is your navigation. You're traveling, it's your navigation. You're traveling, it's, your translator. You're traveling, it's, your tour guide to where to go. I mean, phones are so many things these days. And I think back in the day when smartphones first came out, it's kind of, wow, what can I do with them? And now it's, what can I not do, without them? So it's, they're pretty central to Western life, at least. So I would suggest getting the best one you can. And so that takes me back to, and I know I'm kind of rambling, I apologize, guys, but that takes me back to Sprint. This phone was half off. So for the 128 gig, because that was the only one that I was looking at buying outright, it said it was normally $828. Or excuse me, $832. But if you, paid now for, you could get half off if you signed a 2-year agreement. And like I said, my brothers and I aren't going anywhere. And if you really, really think about it, how often are you switching carriers? I know back in the day, people used to switch carriers a lot. My first plan was in like 2004. Or, no, it was in 2003 with T-Mobile. It was a 1-year plan. I got a cheap, basic phone. After that, I left them and went to AT&T. So, I understand flip-flopping back in the day, because even before then, you really had to pay for your phone. So, and 1-year contracts weren't uncommon. You signed 2-year deals, but really the availability of much greater phones was not there. But the phone I had didn't have, like, it was a monochrome screen where I had like a blue backlight, and you could get a color screen phone, I think, was the only real difference, because the phone I got, I don't know if it had a camera or not. I don't think it did. But anyway, back to what I was saying about the phone. $416. So it came out to be like $455 with tax and some $30 fee. Or no, with tax and everything. And, I'm super happy with it. Obviously, I haven't booted it, but it's an Apple product. So look, I already know what it is. But I'm super happy with it. And the other option, the fourth option on Sprint, I guess I should say, was to pay, full outright, pay $816 for the phone outright, which is crazy. Because I thought about it, and I was like, well, even if my brothers and I leave Sprint, I kind of skimmed through the terms and conditions. Well, there's a $350 early termination fee. So even if I combine that with what I paid, I'm still paying less than buying the phone outright. And we're going to stick with Sprint, so it's not a problem. And then on top of that, this phone, you can unlock phones now. Like, you can, so, whereas, back in the day when I would make a decision like that, you have to consider the $350 early termination fee, and then also the fact that your phone's a brick if you leave the company. You can try to sell it, but you're gonna get a 20% of the price that you really could get. 20-30% less, because the phone can't be activated, or even a lesser amount because the phone can't be activated, and it's basically blackballed, and it has to be jailbroken to use on some kind of Metro PCS type plan. So now, like, I'm going to activate this phone. I could go in and get an unlock code immediately. The Note 5, that's what I'm going to do with my Note 5. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to unlock it first, which really isn't going to do much because it's still only good for Verizon and Sprint. And you never really want to take older phones like that and move them to a different carrier. Even though they can operate in those bands, they can't operate in the high-speed 4G LTE bands of those companies. So, but anyway, if you're on Sprint, again, $416, and that was for the 128 gig. The other one was probably 300 and something, but I think the $50 jump is definitely worth the memory. I mean, again, you have to think about what you're using your phone for. And really with memory, the big thing for me is I don't want to have to hassle with my phone dumping pictures onto my computer every once in a while, even though you can get the hang of it and it can be simple, or you can connect this to some kind of cloud storage and do it. I'm not too trusting of cloud storage. One, it is a hassle getting back and forth on the computer. Two, and the primary reason, third but certainly not least of those reasons, is that I don't want to be somewhere. Like, I'm going to Vegas with my brother this coming week. I would feel super bad if I went there. Now, give you a little backstory. We're both not married, single. We don't have kids, so I don't know when we're going to be able to go to Vegas again together. He lives in North Carolina. I live in Oklahoma. We're probably going to do a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon where you land there. And those pictures and photographs and videos are going to be priceless. So I would hate to get somewhere like that on some kind of adventure and not be able to capture those memories completely and fully document, what we've done there. And I think that is a huge, huge thing. I can't, imagine how many untold stories and things are out there or are in the past that, before there wasn't the technology to capture it, people couldn't afford that. And so now today we have those opportunities, and they're primarily through your phone. I mean, unless you're a professional vlogger, you're somebody who does this regularly, having a $1,000 camera, $200 tripod, $500, video editing software, it's different. It's a different feel. You're not doing that for other people, and you see vloggers doing it, and it doesn't make sense for other people. I mean, this is going to be your primary memory capturing tool, and I would hate to be somewhere, like I said, and not be able to capture that. Because again, thinking about our situation, like, what if my brother meets a girl next month and he gets married, in 2 years? We're probably not going to go to Vegas. He'll have kids, I'll have kids. When are we going to go to Vegas again and be young and have hair, whatever, things like that. So I think that's what makes part of getting a phone like this and taking care of your phone extremely important. And so that's my spiel. Great phone, great packaging. Again, I ordered this on Monday. Came in this pack, arrived today. I believe I ordered it on Monday. I ordered it like Monday afternoon. Like, not Monday morning, not, early, 5 a.m. in the morning. This is Monday evening. And the phone didn't ship. Tuesday it didn't ship. It shipped on Wednesday. And then Sprint, that's another thing. Sprint offered free one-day shipping, which is like a $15 value. I was going to get it anyway, but I got the phone today, and it said it was on back order. It said, if you go on Sprint, again, don't despair, because when I went on Sprint, it said this phone and every other iPhone 7 Plus was on, it didn't say back order, but it gave estimated shipping dates, and it gave the dates of the 21st, which I ordered mine on the 22nd, so it wasn't going to happen. It would ship between the 21st and the 9th. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not going to have this phone before we go to Vegas. And like I said, I have a Note 5, so it wouldn't have been detrimental, but as far as the movie quality and picture quality, I really want to be able to take advantage of it. And so, if you go on Sprint, like I said, if you have the money, you may need to do the installments, but again, I got half off of the phone. That's where keeping track of your money, making sure that your finances are taken care of, and being able to put more money down saves you. Keep that in mind as well. Cars, phones, and any other larger purchases that are over $500, you can save a lot of times by paying up front, because deals pop up. And if you have the money, you can take advantage of the deals. And if you don't, you won't be able to, which you may not find detrimental now, but again, when you're going to buy a house or a car, those kinds of things, or even if you're starting a business or you're starting vlogging and you're buying this expensive software and equipment, you see deals like that, they pop up like that. And I've been in that situation even this past year where, I've been working a lot more and I got a promotion, making more money, but I would make it and I would just be making it rain, And one thing I have had to do these past couple months, really the past 3 months, I'm just specifically, since I've gotten the promotion, been getting more money, I've scaled back. So it's like, because I see things, I can buy this, I can buy that, but what I had to tell myself and what I had to really learn from running into different deals and things is that, stuff would come up where I was like, damn, I don't have the money for that. I can't, just go out and buy it, and I would save hundreds. Like, I wanted a gold chain for some reason. I'm probably not going to do that. I kind of fell back on that, but I was looking at one, and I found this deal where it was like $200 cheaper if I, paid now, but then I couldn't take advantage of it.